Golf Channel, and the LPGA Tour proudly present the season-long race to the CME Globe. From Kingsmill Resort, it's live second-round coverage of the Kingsmill Championship presented by Geico. An already rainy last week or so here in the Williamsburg, Virginia area has gotten even more so as the flags fly above the scoreboard here at Kingsmill. Another inch plus of rain fell last night into the early morning hours. It created a lot of puddling on tees and greens and landing areas and created a huge challenge for the green staff here. It was all hands on deck. All ages came out to try to squeegee the water off the landing areas and the fairways, off the tees, to get this course in good condition. And because of their Herculean efforts, we are playing here after a 1-hour delay this morning at the River Course here at Kingsmill. Grant Boone, Kay Cockrell looking at some of the earlier action. NG Chun for birdie at the first.
A player who has a great track record here. Beautiful putting stroke.
Runner-up to Lexi Thompson a year ago. That gave her a share of the lead at 7 under. How about Austin Ernst? Birdies at 1 and 3, and then this at the 4th.
Always been a solid ball striker, getting nice height off a downhill lie, and her putting is obviously on the mark this week.
26-year-old American with that would get to 7 under and a share of the lead. How about Nasa Hataoka for birdie at the 12th? Some fireworks yesterday late.
You know it's a special week when you make your first ace as a professional. She did that with a 5-iron on the 17th yesterday.
This is her 4th hole of the round this morning. Back-to-back birdies, and NASA goes to 7 under par. Arya Jatanagarn for birdie at the 5th to take the lead. Winner here back in 2016. It was her 2nd straight tournament victory. And as we update the leaderboard, you see Arya Jatanagarn and NG Chun now at -8. Austin Ernst, Nasa Hataoka there at -7. Nasa looking for her first LPGA Tour title. She's been trending in a good direction. Jessica Korda, Annie Park with really good rounds yesterday morning. They'll play in the afternoon. Angel Yen and J. Marie Green, a couple of young American players playing very well. And how about the Hall of Fame member Kari Webb? She still got it, playing on a limited schedule. Kay and I are joined today by Tom Abbott and on the course, Jerry Foltz. We find our defending champion, Lexi Thompson, at the 5th as we say good morning to Tom Abbott.
Good morning, and it is pretty remarkable to see them playing golf right now, considering how much rain has fallen overnight. Of course, we had rain yesterday afternoon. These players had a bit of a miserable time out there in their first rounds. There was no electricity, so they just had to play through the rain, which was heavy at times. Lexi putting it out of the fringe grass and not doing a particularly good job of it there, so she's got a bit of work to do. Let's go to the 6th.
And our co-leader, Arya Jatanagarn, following her is Jerry Foltz.
Tee shot in the left rough. Only 125 she had to the green, and even the strongest player out here couldn't get it to the green. It's so wet. Not a bad shot there.
So that to stay 8 under. Let's take a look at our tournament summary. It's the first time that J. Marie Green has held or shared the lead after round 1 of an LPGA Tour event. She was one of 5 co-leaders. 4 players this week have played in all 13 Kingsmill Championships. 3-time winner Christy Kerr, plus Christina Kim, Candy Kung, and Angela Stanford. And how about that? Almost half of the 144-player field shot under par in the perfect conditions in round 1. So we have par putts for our co-leaders. Arya at the 6th, NG Chun, still getting used to that new do of NG.
Yes, the new short haircut that caused quite a stir in her homeland.
Yeah.
I think she wears it very well. This putt should just drift a little bit to the right.
Ooh. Well, she, if she were to win this week, would fit that major championship theme that we've talked about here. So let's go back. This was the week of the Dallas-Fort Worth event. You see the long locks on the left, and
I'm a big fan of short haircuts, and hey, it makes for easy prep in the morning. Of course, when you have a ponytail, that's pretty easy prep too.
let's go to 5.
Angel Yin for a par.
Part of this powerhouse group of long hitters. High smash factor in this group.
Let's take a look at our featured groups presented by JDX. Some serious firepower in this grouping. 5, 6, and 7 in that order in driving distance on the LPGA Tour.
A long drive contest on 14 of the holes.
You need it in this wet weather, don't you? Nelly Korda, Arya Jatanagarn, and 3-time winner Christy Kerr. In our other featured group, Jerry Foltz following this one. Nelly looking for her first LPGA Tour title. Arya, when she finally won, she had the floodgate open. She won 3 in a row, including this one. Here she is at the 6th, and this for par to stay. Tied for the, well, actually now she's in the lead. Chun made bogey a moment ago.
This one a little slippery. It should die left. There's plenty of time to die because it won't be moving very quickly. Gave it a good wrap.
They double cut and double rolled the greens this morning, as they've done each morning, to get to that 12.5 on the stimp meter.
Looks like we're going to have a 4-way tie for the lead. Here's the 5th.
Lexi Thompson trying to save par. Angel Yin did that just a moment ago, and Lexi does follow her in for a 3. Lexi round in 70 yesterday. Par 71 here at Kings Mill on the River Course, one of 3 golf courses here on the 26,000 acre Kings Mill estate.
At the 6th, still a little work for Arya.
There is. This for bogey on a hole that was just a long iron and a wedge for her. That's the importance, Kay, of just keeping it in the short grass, especially today when that rough is wet.
Well, this rough was last cut on Sunday at 3 inches, and so it's much longer, heavier, thick. It's definitely a penalty if you hit it in that rough. You have to be very lucky to get a decent lie.
Looks like it was the last cut last month.
And here's Inji Chun at the 4th. This for bogey. And to Jerry's point, it's a double penalty, because if you do keep it in the closely mown area, the fairway and around the green, you get to lift clean in place.
That's right. So
Preferred
you're
lies.
essentially giving yourself as good a perfect lie as you can.
All right, so it is now a 4-way tie for the lead here at the Kings Mill Championship. Can we just stop for a moment to say, again, how amazing it is we're playing golf? And there are a whole lot of people that really don't get a lot of publicity week to week that are making the fact that we're playing now possible.
It is a true team effort, and the grounds crew were out there at 5 a.m. They had to double rake all the bunkers because there was so much water in the bunkers. They didn't get any washing out, but you know, they, like you said, squeegeeing all the tees, the landing areas, and thankfully this golf course is so great and so pure that you can still score on it, and the greens above all are pristine. We're still rolling at 12.5 on the stimp meter, which means they haven't lost any speed despite all this rain.
Well, it is amazing that we're playing, and it has created great scoring conditions. 4-way tie here early on day 2 at -7, and one of those is Tom Young Nasa Hataoka.
Yeah, she's laid up at the par 5, no surprise there.
And this is a great story, Tom. I mean, she had a terrible, dismal rookie year last year. Finished 140th on the money list, went back home, won a couple of events in Japan, had to come back to the U.S., and won qualifying school to regain her status.
It's amazing what a difference confidence can make in your golf. She's tied for the lead.
Today's coverage is brought to you by Kings Mill, Williamsburg, Virginia's only AAA 4-diamond waterfront condominium resort. CME Group, how the world advances. And by Win Grips, the best grips in golf.
linguists. Kingsmill Championship, Day 2. Inji Chun on the tee at the 5th. Par 5. Excuse me, par 5. Par 3.
161 yards. That hole is sort of 2/3 of the way back, and that is not where you want to miss it.
Yeah, a little too
Short-sighted
aggressive
yourself.
there.
Let's take a look at our course setup presented by the Golf Course Superintendents Association of America. Pete Dye designed back in 1975. PGA Tour played it from 1981 to 2002 here, and a lot of our Golf Channel colleagues have won here, including John Mahaffey, Jim Gallagher Jr., Nota Begay, David Duval,
Yeah,
Matty
I
Watkins.
talked yesterday about it just being an inspiring golf course. The minute you set foot on the first tee, you can't wait to play that first hole and then see what's next and what's right around the corner. Visually, just a very pleasing golf course, and it challenges every aspect of your game.
The beauty here is universal. Players from all over the world have talked about coming here and just enjoying the scenery here. And it is a major championship caliber test, as evidenced, Tom, by all the major champions who've won here.
Incredible list of winners, both on the men's side and the women's. Of course, the ladies have played since 2003 when Grace Park was the winner. Now NASA for the birdie.
And Tom, again, last year for NASA, she missed far more cuts than she made. Her best finish was tied for 15th in Portland late in the season. But a renewed confidence, having won those events in Japan late in the season and then winning Q School. And I think also traveling with her mother this year, maybe having someone in her court.
Her mother named her NASA after NASA, the space agency, because she felt like she needed her daughter to shoot for the stars.
Well, yesterday she had liftoff here at the 17th, already having a good round, and it got really, really good in a hurry.
Well, this is a absolute perfect 5-iron. And what fun to see a hole-in-one for the first time as a professional. She'll remember that forever.
What's your hole-in-one count?
2.
2.
Only 2.
I'm just 2 behind you. And that ace for NASA, Taoka, led
She
to
had
her 66,
A
500.
neat shot that was posted on Twitter of her with her 5-iron holding the ball.
Great. And now something perhaps even more important, definitely more important, in the offing. Tied for the lead, looking for her first victory. To the 5th.
Inji Chun, as Kay mentioned, has put herself in a little spot of bother here. It'll just depend, Kay, on the lie, which
Well, you know, you can see a little bit of that ball. She's going to really take this lob wedge and lay it open, grip down on it for better control, and try to keep accelerating through this thick, wet rough. Oh, boy. And she went right under it.
Yeah. Well, it's actually given her a chance for a 3. But it wasn't pretty, was it?
No, and she almost kind of decelerated. She cut short that backswing, decelerated a little bit, but just got under it.
Let's go to the other side of the course. The 14th. Here's Megan Kang. 5th hole of the day. 7 under is the lead.
This played one of the tougher holes on the course, the 5th toughest yesterday. They moved the tee up a little bit here like they did on several of the holes. In fact, the course playing about 170 yards shorter today than it did yesterday.
Parents from Laos. Megan Kang now within 2.
Over at the 7th, Austin Ernst has a chance to go 2 shots ahead. She's got an eagle putt.
She started working with Gareth Raflewski, who has worked with quite a few LPGA players out here. He's a putting specialist. She started working with him at the end of December. She has always been a very strong ball striker, Tom, but the putting aspect of her game was very inconsistent. She's changed everything from the setup to the stroke path. She had far too much of her hands involved in the stroke, initiating more from the shoulders now. And obviously, it's been paying off. She hasn't yet had a top 10 finish, though, this year. So showing more consistency, making a lot of cuts. But this past winner wants to get back in the winner's circle.
As her one victory on the LPGA Tour came at the Cambia Portland Classic in 2014. I'm rather surprised that she hasn't followed that up with another win. It's been almost 4 years.
Here's our defending champion, Lexi Thompson, at the 6th. 20 under par last year, a tournament record.
22 birdies made with only 2 bogeys.
Amazing. 5.
Brooke Henderson going to work with her sister Brittany on this putt. Coming off a birdie on the last hole.
New putter that she is holding on to this week. The old style Answer, the newer version.
Went back to Canada, and the break between the last tournament and this event was the first time she'd gone back home since before Christmas, and spending time at her home in Florida over the winter, which is a good decision. Little slow coming back up the hill there.
Does anyone play more golf than Brooke Henderson?
Loves golf, loves playing competitive
Gardens
golf.
are close.
They're close. With the sister acts. It's either an LPGA Tour event. She played in the Diamond Resorts at the beginning of the year, which was that PGA Tour Champions LPGA hybrid event, and then always in charity events. Angel Yen won on the Ladies European Tour late last year, and you think it's sooner rather than later before she wins out here, don't you, Kay?
Most definitely. She is so talented, has a great attitude. She's just 19 years old, so still honing the craft and kind of working on the little details of this game.
How hard is that?
It's hard. I mean, most people do this in, the later years of their junior golf or in college, but Angel bypassed going to college and turned professional. Coming off her personal best finish a few weeks ago up at the Mediheel, which was played at Lake Merced Golf Club.
Born in L.A. Back to 5.
Should be a good save here for Inji Chun. Yeah, well done. Inji, of course, was very much in the mix last year. Played with Lexi Thompson, that final group. It was, if I remember correctly, there was a big momentum swing very early in the round when Inji, she 3-putt and Lexi made a putt, and it looked like she was going to have a chance for birdie. Ended up being Lexi was the one who made the birdie, and it sort of set the trend for the rest of the day, and Lexi would run away with it. Now Austin Ernst.
This to avoid the dreaded 3-putt par on a par 5. Oh, that looks solid. Perhaps this newfound confidence with the putter is going to take her to new heights this year.
Back to 6.
And a par putt for Lexi Thompson. And a nice par save at 5. And back to even par. You have the leaders at -7. A lot of golf to go, at least scheduled. There's more rain in the forecast. Amazing that we're playing. Tremendous work by the green staff. Austin Ernst with that 2-putt birdie has taken the lead. 1 hour delay this morning after another deluge hit about 6:30 a.m. local time, but we are on the course playing round 2. Austin Ernst, 2-putt birdie at the par 5 7th. She has moved into the lead. 2016 champ Arya Jitanagarn, Nasa Hataoka, age 19 from Japan, and Inji Chun, twice a major champion, at 7 under. Angel Yen, J. Marie Green looking for career victories #1. Same for Megan Kang, the young American. Minjee Lee won here back in 2015 as an 18-year-old. Her fellow countrywoman, or her fellow Aussie, Kari Webb, 4 under with her. First of 9 straight weeks of LPGA Tour golf. A couple of major championships in the middle of that 9-week stretch. Christy Kerr, the 3-time champion. In fact, she was runner-up the very first playing of this event back in 2003. To 7.
Third shot coming up for Area.
It's pretty wet in
Have
these fairways.
Have you got your waterproof shoes on, Jerry?
You know, I thought they might have been, but as it turns out, they're not. It squishes everywhere. My shoes are getting quite squeaky. And I'm not the only one. And I think from a player standpoint, the biggest issue is you're playing lift, clean, and place, which is fine. So you might just decide that you don't even try and take relief from casual water and just find the driest spot within a club length of your ball. It is phenomenal. And I know you've already stressed it. I don't want to keep beating the same tune, but it's phenomenal. They're playing golf right now.
Just a lot of work that goes in behind the scenes. The ownership group that took over Kingsmill a few years ago own a number of courses around the US, and they brought in maintenance staff from other courses to help out this week, and so they have a good group of people behind the scenes, and they're all getting up very early, pretty much in the middle of the night, to deal with the overnight rain and come out and see what they face in the mornings. But they've done a very good job of getting it tournament ready as best they can. Now Nelly's playing here.
He's playing it the good old-fashioned way, a little, well, pitch and run. Nicely done under the hole there. Not a tough putt.
It's been a tough run because they had a very harsh winter here. Very cold winter that lasted far longer than the golfers in this area would have liked.
We go to the 6th and we find Inji Chun.
It was interesting, after her round of 65 yesterday, she said she felt off a little bit in the morning, and she called and talked to her coach, and he kind of calmed her down and said, just, you know, take some deep breaths on the golf course. And it's interesting that players of all level, at the highest level, still have some anxiety. You wake up and you just don't feel settled. You don't feel like you're in a groove, but she found it.
Oh, she nearly found the bottom of the hole with that second shot. So that's going to be a tap in for Inji Chun at the 6th to join Austin Ernst at -8. 7.
Jitanagarn playing. And not releasing as she would have liked. Back to 6.
And big sister Moria Jitanagarn playing with Inji Chun and Brooke Henderson.
Her feet, you can just barely see her ankles out standing in the primary rough, but hitting out of the intermediate cut.
And now we can't see her ball, and we won't be able to see her feet with the next shot either, I wouldn't imagine. Get the breakthrough victory back in Los Angeles as we go back to check in on a past winner here 3 times.
Yeah, she won in 2005, 2009, and 2013.
She's overdue, based on the math.
Yeah, you're right, Jerry.
Jerry, she's won well over $1 million here.
Well, I would be tempted to buy a place here. I like it here so much, Kay. Christy, though, I really think if she starts making some putts, which she's known to do, this one turning big left, I think she has a huge advantage over a lot of other players in these conditions, because she really picks the ball, rarely takes a divot. And when the fairways are this wet, that's a huge advantage. So is that.
And these pure greens highlight her putting prowess. They really do. And there's no secret as to why she's won 3 tons out here, being one of the best ever on the putting greens.
There you go. Career finishes for Christy Kerr at Kingsmill. Played in all 14 of the Kingsmill Championships. We mentioned the years that she's won, but you can see it's not just those years where she's played well here. There have been brushes with victories for Kerr, including the very first playing in 2003 when Grace Park was the winner. There are homes for sale here, beautiful homes right on the James River, Jerry, in case you're wondering about maybe buying a place.
I've already checked into it. They're a little out of my tax bracket.
No.
Area got a good read off Christie. Saw it snap left late.
Just a 5 as we go to the 8th.
So Inji Chun hasn't yet tapped in. There at 6, so it is on Austin Ernst alone at the top at 8 under.
Now, Austin's one of those players that's not fearful of being in the lead. She had a tremendous amateur record. She won the NCAA championships. She played on all the top level amateur teams, Curtis Cup World Amateur Team. Played on her first Solheim Cup team and did quite well.
Won a couple of matches with Paula Creamer.
Exactly. She doesn't fear or feel that extra pressure. I think she relishes it. For her, it's just getting in that position more often.
She wasn't crazy about that strike. It didn't sound like as we go back to 7.
And Nelly Corder with this to get to 3 under.
Almost straight under the hole. Slow putt, but not a tough one.
Projected cut is 1 under par right now. And Nelly just 1 shot away from that number. Doesn't want to make too many mistakes. Austin Ernst has a 1-shot lead here. You can see the quality of players on the first page.
The PGA Tour is in Dallas, and a new venue that Aussie Mark Leishman found to his liking. A 10-under par 61 at Trinity Forest. Second round coverage today at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time. The AT&T Byron Nelson. In-Gee Chun tapped in at the 6th after a tremendous approach that nearly went in. So she and Austin Ernst are tied for the lead. Area Jatanagarn unable to birdie the par 5 7th. Nasa Hataoka on the other side of the golf course also at -7. To the 7th.
Third shot for Lexi Thompson. Okay, I'm guessing these shots can be very tricky with the conditions that we're seeing out there.
They can, because subconsciously you know how soft that ground is, and these are tight lies. You want to just nip it to hit that little spinny shot, and you know if you just goose it a little bit, you might hit it thin or hit too much turf and hit it fat. Takes a lot of confidence. And Lexi, we know, takes a pretty big, deep divot most of the time.
Oh, she was looking for that one to spin. Not exactly what she would have wanted. To 8.
26-year-old Austin Ernst tied with In-Gee Chun. This a lengthy one for birdie at the 8th hole.
I've seen quite a few players hole very long putts because these greens are so pure. If you get it going on the right line, it will maintain that line. But she's kind of putting up and over a little ridge. She needs to hit it a little extra firmly.
Will roll out a bit. Still some speed despite all the moisture. 15.
Third shot from Megan Kang. Very similar spot to Nasa Hataoka. In her third year on the LPGA Tour is Megan. And it's been a good season so far, but not quite to a level that maybe she's challenging to win, although she's got the game to get it done out here. You could say the same for Angel Yin. She may need to just learn how to win, Kay, and how to control her game.
And I think it's really hard for someone like Angel, who knows how much physical talent she has. She hits it so far, hits pure iron shots, and she probably wants it to happen right now. And she feels like she could potentially dominate every week, but you have to let it happen. And you have to be very patient. And a lot of youngsters don't have an abundance of patience.
Yeah, just 19 years of age.
Lydia Ko, for example, at age 14, seemed to have the patience of a 40-year-old.
Angel does have a win on the Ladies European Tour. She won one of the biggest events, the Omega Dubai Ladies Classic, in December. And that would be a good stepping stone for Angel Yin to win out here on the LPGA. It'll give her a lot of confidence. Laura Davies for a birdie. And she will be very happy to make that, because that takes her to 1 under par and puts her in for the weekend. That was a moment ago. Now live on the tee at 17 with Danielle Kang.
This hole only playing 110 yards today, some 59 yards closer than it played yesterday.
Yes, this is not the 17th hole that Pete Dye designed for tournament golf, but I think officials making a smart decision with the forecast for this afternoon, the fact that there was an hour delay this morning. They need to get players around the golf course as quick as they can, and to still keep the integrity of tournament golf. And why not move it forward and have a little fun?
Tom, this is the spot where she had the ace.
And I tell you what, it's on for another hole-in-one today with the way that the hole is set up.
She's got a great opportunity of it. Lining up looks like maybe just a tad right. Little abbreviated backswing and follow through.
Oh, wow. We would have had to get out the record books.
That would have been so cool.
I know Laura Diaz made holes in one on consecutive days I believe, in a tournament a few years ago. I'd have to look that up. But this was yesterday.
This was
Nasa Hataoka.
a 5-iron, 169 yards.
First hole-in-one as a professional. And Nasa Hataoka, who's having an incredible season on the LPGA Tour, and it just gets better and better.
So cool.
That was part of her opening round of 66. And she almost did it again. Now Megan Kang for the birdie at the 15th to get to 6 under. Just a couple of shots back. Finished 5th earlier this year. Has had a 12th place finish in 2018. And that's 3 birdies in a row.
All right, so Austin Ernst at the 8th, tied for the lead. This to stay tied. I know it's Friday morning, but putts like that keep the momentum going. She stays at 8 under, tied with NG Chun. Nasa Hataoka is about to get to 8 under as well after she nearly jarred her tee shot at the 17th for a second straight day.
Back on the 7th hole, Angel Yin to get to 7 under.
Angel works very hard on her putting. Spends a lot of time on the practice putting green with various drills. Really nice stroke there. Ah, beautiful. Great rhythm. You see that the same tempo back and through with the best putters.
Back at the 17th, Danielle Kang has this for birdie. We mentioned Laura Diaz making 2 holes in 1 in a tournament. There have actually been 4 players in total to have made 2 holes in 1 in the same tournament, but never on the same hole. So if Nasser had holed out, that would have been a first in LPGA history. The last player to make 2 holes in 1 in a tournament was Ayako Uehara, 2016 Canadian Pacific Women's Open at Pritis Greens Well done. Good 2. Laura Diaz did it at the Aviara Golf Club where they play the Kia Classic. Jenny Lidback and Joanne Washman are the other 2 players.
One off the lead, Ariya Jutanugarn at the 8th, Jerry.
170 up the hill, into a little breeze after a long iron off the tee. That was a 7-iron on a good line.
Jerry, this starts a stretch of 3 holes that are the 3 the most challenging on the golf course.
And this one's one of the most difficult tee shots of the year.
17 again.
Nessa Hataoka to get to 8 under par and tie the lead.
I don't know how it didn't go in.
The pitch mark was about 3 inches away from the cup.
Yeah, I guess that's how, but
She was trying for the slam dunk.
yeah.
And keep this inside the hole. Just inside left edge.
1-2.
Gorgeous.
First 2 rounds. In fact, if you played it 1, 2, 3, 4, it wouldn't be a bad aggregate score on this hole, would it?
2 under.
I think there'd be a lot of players that would take that for the week. Back to the 7th. Short-haired Inji Chun. Second shot.
Some might think when you cut your hair off, you lose some power.
The Samson effect.
But I don't think that's true.
Well, she's almost got there in 2, so I don't think that rings true with Inji. 3 players tied for the lead. It is the 2nd round. We are playing at the Kingsmill Championship.
Along the James River, the North Banks begins forming in the Appalachian Mountains and flows down to Chesapeake Bay. And we are happy that the moisture has been removed from much of the golf course here, Jerry, and Ariya Jutanugarn has a chance to get back a share of the lead.
She does, but this putt has a few little subtleties to contend with. A little uphill at first, going a little right, and then it goes slightly downhill about halfway there and should dive slightly left. Got a good read from Christy Kerr, who just narrowly missed hers from longer range, and narrow miss there, and it just continues to run.
Well, Austin Ernst ran hers past some 6 feet. Well, it was 2 years ago that Ariya Jutanugarn finally had broken through, won in Alabama, and then came here to Kingsmill. Shot 65 in the third round, got to 10 under par, had a one-shot lead over Inji Chun and a couple of others. Second shot at the 9th, and a beauty. To about 3 feet, she would make birdie. And then at the par 5 15th, great power, but how about the touch of Ariya Jutanugarn?
That's what makes her so amazing, is she has that power with the finesse.
So she, with birdie there, she goes to 18. She's got to make this to win it by 1, and she does. So clutch putts in Alabama, clutch putts here at Kingsmill. She would win the next week in Ann Arbor as well. We knew it, didn't we? We kept saying once she wins one of them, the floodgates are going to open, and did they ever? And
it seems so sensible that her nickname is May.
She swept the entire month of May in 2016. Take a look at the past champs. Tournament record 20 under par, broke Annika's record. That was the 72nd and final victory of Annika Sorenstam's career right here in 2008, a decade ago.
And Lexi with those 4 rounds in the 60s, 3 of them 65s.
Incredible. She's right around the cut line at the moment.
Ariya Jutanugarn, third shot here, the 7th on the par 5.
Her goal would be to get this within 5 feet. And not as good as she would have liked.
Coming towards the end of the first 9 holes in this second round. Austin Ernst second to the 9th. Flag today tucked way back in the back right of the green. Brings that bunker short right into play.
And the second shot plays a little bit longer uphill, and wow, she badly missed that one.
Yeah, it's going to be a tricky bunker shot right below the level of the green, and Inji Chun just hiding behind the flagstick.
And Tom, well, she knows that this green slopes from right to left, but then watching Moria's chip shot, she has to realize she's got to play it much higher and let it turn from right to left and get the distance right.
2 wins for Inji Chun, both in majors. Oh, that took a funny hop, didn't it? Kicked straight left. I mean, that green slopes that way, but you shouldn't kick it that far to the left.
She must have had some right to left spin on the shot as well.
Austin Ernst ran her putt at 8, passed about 6 feet, made it coming back. Here's Ariya for par.
Yeah, but she just witnessed fellow competitor Nelly Korda 4-putt it for triple. Got to block that out of your mind. It shouldn't matter, but sometimes it does when you just stand there and watch that happen just before you have to putt one of a similar length that she missed twice.
So bogeys at 6 and 8 after taking the lead with 3 birdies in her first 5. She leads the LPGA Tour in birdies in large part because she's so good, but then also because she plays so often.
Well, I think Moria's third on the list. Between the two of them, they have well over 300 birdies on the year.
Brooke Henderson's always up there as well because those players play the most. And right on cue, Tom, Brooke Henderson.
That's great producing from our team in the truck.
And her sister, a very fine player in her own right, put her own career on hold to come out and assist her sister. And they work very well together. Brittany obviously knows her sister's game better than anybody.
It's a family affair. Dad has been basically the only golf coach that she's had. They're a very close family. Very sporty family as well. Father was a hockey player, played in college. I think he played a little minor league hockey as well. And then got into the teaching profession.
Well, this obviously has quite a bit of right to left break. And she needs to hit it at the apex and then just let it filter down to the left. The problem is the higher you hit it, the more speed it gains coming off that hill.
I don't think Austin Ernst got all the way down into the bunker. able to see the flag and able to give it a good run. So that's a good four for her there. No trouble at all. And Austin Ernst going along well.
Angel Yin won't turn 20 until October. Here she is, one off the lead at the 8th. She was a rookie on the Solheim Cup team, but in many ways she was the energy leader, wasn't she?
She was, and it was actually, I believe, at Thornbury. She was paired with Christy Kerr, and Christy was so impressed with Angel. She got right in Captain Julie Inkster's ear and said, "This gal has to be on the team."
Back at 7.
Mario Jutanagan now for her birdie. Winner at Wilshire Country Club, a huge JTBC LA Open, which was a new event this year and one of the most successful events I think I've been to in its first year. It was a fabulous week right in the heart of Hollywood. I think it'll only get better in years to come. A lot of support from that club.
Pretty good course to have on your resume as your first win.
Yeah. An emotional victory for Mario, who'd been battling away, trying to get herself into the winner's circle and finally managed to do it. Missed it on the pro side, but may have expected to make it considering this stat. The Jutanagans are pretty good when it comes to making birdies, which will bode well for the team competition, the pairs competition they're going to play next summer up in Michigan.
You're sure they're playing together?
Well, I would be shocked if they did. Also bodes well for the UL Crown.
It's going to be interesting to see how the players choose their partners, whether they're close friends, whether their games complement each other.
Inji Chun for the outright lead. Well, she certainly fits into the mold of major winners at Kingsmill, with 2 majors to her credit.
So, Tom, most players are looking for that first major win. She's only won majors. She's looking for her first regular event win.
Just a 5 for Inji. 2 under for the day. And we'll go to the tee at the 9th, and Eri Jutanagan.
Playing into the breeze. Driver not in the bag this week. 3-wood being used only on rare occasion. This one up the left.
Jerry, she had her driver in the bag on the Pro-Am day, and on this tee she blew it way right. Maybe that led into the decision not to put it in the bag.
All right, one of our 3 leaders at the 18th, her 9th hole of the day, 19-year-old Nasa Hataoka. Firing darts on these receptive greens here to 7.
The Ottawa 67s, that was the team her father played for. A semi-pro team, and he played hockey for the University of Toronto. And his daughter, Brooke, played as a goalie when she was growing up.
The hockey mentality permeates the game.
It's she says it taught her quite a lot of good mental strength. 3 tied for the lead here at the Kingsmill Championship.
coughing. Golf Channel welcomes you back to the LPGA Tour and the Kings Mill Resort along the James River, just a few miles from Williamsburg, historic Williamsburg. The Kings Mill Championship presented by Geico. Grant Boone, Kay Cockrell, Tom Abbott, Jerry Foltz. And we take you to the ninth.
Where Ariya Jutanugarn is going to play this second shot to a tight flag back there, Jerry.
Yes, it is 172 into a pretty decent breeze at the moment. This is a 7-iron. It's got to be a big one. Nicely struck, but climbing into the breeze all over the flag, however, it gets there.
Yeah, well, it was enough to get to the green, but not exactly what she wanted.
Well, you have to take out over the green. You have to take that out of play. That's bogey.
A long birdie attempt for Angel Yin. We've seen some from back here race it way past the hole.
Well, you have to get it up that hill, and then if it's coming with a little too much speed, it just takes off.
How about
that? Was a textbook lag right there.
Again, prodigious power for Angel Yin and great touch there. Had a great up and down for birdie at 7. Nasa Hataoka, 9th hole of the day. This for the outright lead. She got herself into the final group at the Lotte in Hawaii 3 weeks ago or a month ago. Did not play her best on that championship Saturday, but everything feels like it's moving in the right direction for NASA, who now moves in the direction of the first tee. Makes that backward turn, tied for the lead. 17.
Megan Kang on the tee. Oh, that'll work back towards the flag. Not sure it'll get all the way there, but it's going to be a really good shot and a good chance for a 2.
Danielle Kang at the 18th from just off the green, but again in the fringe, because it's lift clean in place, you can pick it up and clean it.
Yep. And these fringes are pretty well kept, so just a tiny bit longer version of the pureness that you're going to face once it hits the putting surface, so you feel like you can make them right from the fringe, especially when you're only about 5 steps away. But no.
She was part of Media Day for the KPMG Women's PGA Championship, which will be back in the Chicagoland area where she won last year.
Didn't
It's
she
going to be
hit
at
shots
Temper
onto
Lakes.
a floating green?
Yeah, the floating green. It was awesome. Well, there's a major championship afoot on PGA Tour Champions, the region's tradition in Alabama, which will host the U.S. Women's Open later this month. Today we've got coverage when we're done here at Kingsmill. Miguel Angel Jimenez with an opening round 8 under par 64, setting the early pace. 8 under par has the lead here. An hour delay earlier this morning because of a deluge that happened overnight. An inch and 1.3 inches. Amazing.
Right.
That they took just overnight.
And they couldn't even, yesterday they got to attending to the golf course at 3 in the morning. Today they had to wait till about 5.
And then they began work, and then another
squall came
big
in.
squall came through.
Yep.
Kari Webb playing a limited schedule. She got the special exemption into the U.S. Women's Open as a past champion and one of the all-time greats. To the 7th.
And Lauren Coughlin, the rookie. And she's at 2 under par, so in for the weekend at the moment.
Tom, do you know that she went 5 years. She redshirted 1 year at Virginia. And her 5th year, she'd already finished her undergraduate degree. She worked on a master's degree her 5th year while competing, and said it was a pretty packed schedule. That's impressive to get all that done in a year.
It's pretty easy though at the University of Virginia, I hear.
Oh yeah.
No, not a difficult place to
Quite an easy school
get a
to
degree.
get into.
Yeah, easy to get through.
Not so subtle swipe at our esteemed producer. Proud alum.
It's the husband on the back. He played football for UVA, John Pond.
And it's quite a nice love story between the two of them.
How about these connections, Tom? University of Virginia alums, Brittany Altamare, Lauren Coughlin, and then Elsa Diaz. She has been quite the story this week. Just graduated on Sunday from the University of Richmond. Just played her last collegiate event last Wednesday in the regionals down in Tallahassee. On the first tee yesterday, she turned to the crowd and said, "I'm really nervous." It was like the inner monologue was not working. She just went ahead and said it. She's been a delight.
Back over to the ninth area, Jutanagan for a birdie.
Another little one with some subtlety here, as you get so often around this golf course. Uphill early, and then most of it will be just slightly downhill and turning right. From that point forward, not that much right.
Not too bad, though.
No.
Ninth can be a sneaky difficult hole. And area, he was going so well. 3 under through 5 holes in the round, but drop shots at 6 and 8.
And I'm looking at Austin Ernst here, and speaking of family affairs, her caddy is her brother Drew, and he's been on the bag most of her career. He was a fine golfer himself, played at Coastal Carolina. Her dad, Mark, is a PGA professional at Cross Creek Plantation and is her only coach. So a few stories like that where the whole family is involved.
Coastal Carolina, the alma mater of Dustin Johnson as well. South Carolina folks.
Well, it's very reassuring to have a family member on the bag who's out there for your best interest, not trying to make money or feeling down if you make a few bogeys. They're just really genuinely supporting you because they love you.
J. Marie Green, similar situation.
Yeah, her brother's on the bag as well. Is to get to 8 under.
Well, that is some kind of putter that she's put into the bag.
Yes, when she's traveling and she can't get cable TV, she just sticks that on the side of the room and she can dial up anything on the satellites. Now Megan Kang is for birdie. Get to 7 under. Oh, no.
She looked like she peeked just a teeny bit and watched that slide by instead of staying still.
Now, Lauren Coughlin for birdie. Won the Virginia Women's Amateur in 2012 and 2013, but narrowly missed out on a hat-trick the following year. Lost in the final of the match play. And she did win the stroke play portion in 2014, the stroke play championship, so she pretty much swept amateur golf in this state before turning professional.
She said she's put too much pressure on herself to play well. Needs to let it happen. In fact, I was at dinner with Julie Inkster last night. She came into the restaurant, and Julie and she had a really nice conversation. Julie saying, "Hey, just trust yourself, relax, let it come to you, play, and know that you have what it takes." It's pretty nice to hear from a Hall of Fame.
And easier said than done, isn't it?
Yeah.
In-Ji Chun, one of 3 leaders at 8 under. You saw the water splash up when she made contact. Ahead to the 9th.
Should be no problem here for Jutanagan. Always get a little nervous when our producer goes to a short putt like that. You think, well, maybe she misses it. That's why we're seeing it. But no problems for Area Jutanagan. Out in 1 under. Well, the water has certainly risen over the last few days with the amount of rain, but they're playing golf here in Kingsmill.
Austin Ernst in a three-way tie for the lead at the 10th for birdie. Year got off to a bit of a painful start. She cut her finger opening a can on the Sunday before the event in the Bahamas. She is fully healthy, and we go back to the tee at that 10th and Area Jatanagarn.
Lengthy par 4, playing a little downwind, but still not going to get much roll.
Talking to her caddy, Les Luer, said she might hit driver 6 to 7 times. But as Jerry pointed out, does not have it in the bag. That was Wednesday. It's a different golf course than it was then. In-Ji Chun, long birdie putt here at the 8th.
And this whole location, players are having a hard time getting all the way back to it. And so it seems like almost everybody has this a 35-footer or so. It's... Oh, whoa! A thing of beauty.
You're in the process of saying it was the hardest hole in the course.
Exactly.
And she does that. In-Ji Chun. Talked about all of how long we went into last year without a repeat winner. We got to late June before So Yeon Yu became the first repeat winner. Lydia Ko never won last year. In-Ji Chun didn't win last year. Even with all those different winners. To 7.
Jay Marie to get to 7 under.
And that round of 6 under yesterday, she still missed 2 or 3 3-footers, she said. So her brother just said, don't worry about it. Don't think about the misses. Just keep doing what you're doing.
This is the opening hole. Nessa Hideo going down the right side. There's a bunker over there, but I don't think she was in it. And she's going to have a chance for a birdie. Trying to tie In-Ji Chun now. They've got a great setup there, as you can see, by the tee. The 1st and the 10th tees very close together. The 18th is right there as well. Very busy area, great spot for the spectators to gather. They can see on the putting green and watch a bit of golf as well.
See if Brooke Henderson can match In-Ji Chun's long birdie at this 8th. She is finally going to take a week off. We hear next week.
What?
Finally, she's one of a handful. You can count on one hand the number of players who have played all 12 events now.
Reminds me of a player, Sherry Steinhauer, who just she didn't like to practice and stay at home. She'd rather be out playing.
Sure.
So there are players like that just are almost bored being at home. They'd rather be teeing it up.
Always had good crowds here. Some 2,400 homes on property here at Kingsmill. They're developing more, not too many more, but they are developing more home sites here. Some beautiful homes on the market, and the galleries have always been very strong. Folks come down and spend the weekend here and watch the golf. And this local area as well is very popular for golf fans.
So Tom, Angel's best finish, I mentioned, came at the Mediheal at Lake Merced. She shot 67 on that Sunday, which that's one of the tougher courses the women play, and that was just zoomed her up towards the top of the leaderboard. And got a nice paycheck for that, and sort of settled things for her because she hadn't played that great leading up to that point. Played here last year and finished 58th. Her second year on tour, starting to see courses for the second time and getting a sense of what it needs to play it well.
In-Ji Chun leads by 1. Min Ji Chun, 5th on tour in greens in regulation.
And one of the best golf swings out here. That's a good one to replicate.
Another fairway hit. Very important to find the fairway.
At the 10th, Jerry, you were telling us earlier, days like this are why you have preferred lies, lift clean in place.
Yes, they are. That was a 9-iron from 153. I'll get into that a little bit later and give you my reasoning why, Grant.
Okay. To the first.
Hataoka for birdie.
Not too much in this putt.
She won the 2016 Japan Women's Open as an amateur, which is a major on the JLPGA Tour. She came back the next year as a pro, won it by 8 shots over G.A. Shin.
I think that was part of regaining her sense of who she is as a player, and then returned to Q School and won it.
Speaking of amateurs, you can tee it up in tournament competition at places like this one, Kings Mill Resort, on the Golf Channel Amateur Tour. To learn more and to get your tour card, visit gcamtour.com today. Well, it has been rainy. It has been threatening to absolutely pour each of the last several days. The forecast is still calling for heavy showers in the next couple of days. Incredible, as we say, that we're still playing, and you see playing preferred lies, lift clean in place. This is J. Marie Green.
Yeah, I like what she said yesterday after her round, that her game is in a good spot and that she's finally seen a score that correlates to how she's been playing. And I also love that she said she really wants to get her first win. That's her goal every week. And I like hearing a player verbalize that, not being afraid of verbalizing that.
That could be an awkward pitch. We'll take a look at that one here in a moment. Move ahead to the 10th and Ariya Jutanugarn, Jerry.
As she looks over this birdie putt, Grant, to get back to your point, these conditions are the exact reason the USGA implemented a local rule to play lift clean in place, because there are certain areas on this course today where if you were to try and take relief from casual water, you'd have to take it to the rough, and by definition in the rules you have to take complete relief, so the course would then be unplayable. Lift clean in place was only intended for those situations where you could find an area within a club length of your ball that is still playable, although technically still within casual water, and that is it's amazing how often we play it when it wasn't really intended for that. I can tell you, John Bodenhammer told me that they've never played a U.S. Open with the ball being played lift clean in place, and he's not sure they've ever played any national championships. He's the top guy with the USGA in charge of rules.
Birdie for Ariya gets her to 7 under. Remember, they did play it up at the PGA Championship at Baltusrol a couple of years ago, and Jimmy Walker won. Take a look at your putting average leader. These are putts per round.
And Ariya is another player that works with Gareth Raflewski, and they noticed a little bit of her getting a little too much handsy in her putting stroke, so had her practice putting with a wedge.
Bellying a wedge.
Bellying a wedge, which quiets the handle down and thus keeps your hands quiet. And Christy Kerr,
she can make it with anything.
Here for birdie, she's a firm believer. Her basic fundamental is keep the hands out of it and initiate the stroke with the shoulders.
She's 46 under par in her career here at Kings Mill. If I added correctly, 3-time champion. To the second, and we find Stacey Lewis,
who is starting to show a little bit now that she's 16 weeks along in her pregnancy. She said the initial part of her pregnancy was awful. She felt horrible. She is not prone to taking naps, but she took a nap constantly. But now she has a rejuvenated energy, and she's excited to play.
She's going to play a lot in the next few weeks, she said. 11.
If you took a nap constantly, would you just not be asleep all day?
Well, it also happened to coincide with getting over her rib injury.
Austin Ernst, second at the 11th. Par 4. which is 384 on the card.
So Austin won the NCAA championship as an individual in 2011, and today the women are teeing it up for the first round of the NCAA championships
in Stillwater, Oklahoma. And you'll be able to see coverage next week on Golf Channel, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Busy week, busy few weeks of golf on Golf Channel. Now, In-Ji Chun second.
Not many players have been able to get it all the way back to that hole location. And coming in with a hybrid, that's a good, sensible play.
And we'll go to the tee at the second.
Nasa Hataoka had an ace at the 17th yesterday, nearly replicated it today. This is her 11th hole of the day, one off the lead.
So, Tom, the ace came at the 17th when it played 169. This is 171, so maybe the magical 5-iron? No, just an average shot.
Just a really good shot with a chance at birdie, that's all. Could be a breakout week for the 19-year-old Nasa Hataoka. In-Ji Chun looking for her first victory in a couple of years. She leads it by 1.
On the tee at the 11th, Harry Jutanaga is just going to go with the iron.
Yeah, and it doesn't even look like her 2-iron here. Down breeze, a birdie hole, most players consider it. Generous size fairway and a certain landing area, right about where this one's going to end up.
Played over at the Williamsburg Golf Club yesterday, which is a beautiful golf course just outside of the gates here. There are only 2 groups on the golf course. That gives you an idea of how the conditions were yesterday. And if you think about the fact they got everybody round yesterday, no problem.
J. Marie Green is going to drop a shot here at the 8th. It's a player who had offers to play collegiately, opted to turn pro instead. Won Q school by a mile. That had to have validated her decision immediately, you would have thought. 11.
Putt to get to 9 under par for Austin Ernst.
get a good look at her relatively new routine. Looking at the break behind the hole, and then she takes one practice stroke and tries to maintain that same tempo with this real stroke. And you can see her shake her arm, and anything you can do to try to get the tension out of your arms and hands.
Quite work there. Originally from South Carolina, now lives down in Florida, though she goes back to the Carolinas for the summertime, where she spends a bit of time on her boat out on the lake, and obviously plays a bit of golf as well. So it's getting to that time of the year where these players who have the opportunity will move away from Florida and head back to where they grew up.
Nasa Hataoka at the second hole. Stacey Lewis lining up a birdie putt as well. Nasa to join Inji Chon at 9 under.
When I was first on tour in the late 80s, Ayako Okamoto was an amazing player that was a prolific winner, and it's almost as if Japan has keeps looking for the next Ayako Okamoto, and certainly Ai Miyazato has filled that role for quite a while. And it's a big move to leave Japan. They have a great tour there. The women can fly home in between events because nothing's more than a couple-hour flight away.
To the 9th.
Brooke Henderson for her birdie. We talked about playing hockey. She says that she gained a lot of mental strength, but also physical strength from playing hockey, and also keeping up with her sister when she was a young girl. Her sister's, what, 5 or 6 years older. I believe that sister Brittany played at Coastal Carolina as well. We mentioned that school just a little earlier.
So a couple of caddies, right? Drew Ernst and
It's
Brittany
not
Henderson.
exactly what the golf program was trying to promote. They would say that they have a program that could put you as a professional as well as a caddy. But yes, that is true.
They do have Dustin Johnson.
They do. Now, Ari Jutanagan second at 11.
Not like a hard card, no, but just a good full one is perfect. Okay.
154 the hole, and believe it or not, a little bit in between clubs. You heard Les say not a hard one. This is a 9-iron, a smooth 9-iron. She could actually lean on a wedge and get it there. She does have a rather steep angle of attack, which is not good on wet fairways, but it hasn't seemed to have affected her today, although the irons aren't flying nearly as far as they normally do.
Think that's just because of the heavy air?
Well, I think when you hit steeply on it, you just don't pinch it the way you would off a dry surface.
Well, that one was right on the number.
Yeah, whatever she's doing, she needs to stick with it, because that was beautiful. Tap in birdie. And Jutanagan will get to 8 under to the second.
All right. A little bump and run here for Stacey Lewis.
She said nothing has changed in her swing or her putting stroke yet.
Just a little bump you can see. Due in November. To 9.
See if she's learned anything here from Brooke Henderson with the speed.
The art of the lag.
It's a very important part of the game, especially on big greens. Inji Chun leads by 1 as the Kingsmill Championship presented by Geico. Ninth hole here at Kings. Look at that. We've got a shadow. The sun has come out. This is Henderson for a par. Oh, no, 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 no. Seemed to stand over that one for an entirety. 11th hole. Christy Kerr, second shot.
Hit a hook off the tee. Just 131 remaining from this fairway bunker. Caught it a little thin, but it might work out.
It's going to scamper up there to see where it finishes, and she's going to be very happy. It's just going to be outside the mark of area to Tanagan, but it should be a birdie for Kerr.
At the 10th, Lexi Thompson, the defending champion, 20 under par last year, right now outside the cut line.
It's got to feel like she's massively over par compared to last year's experience.
Shot 1 under 70 yesterday. Those in the afternoon did have to deal with some of the nettlesome elements that come along with rain. They had the umbrella out, rain gear on, then off, and then the umbrella
Changing
down.
your gloves. But there were still a couple great rounds of 6
Several.
under.
So, as we said, she's in danger of missing the cut, but take a look at what she's done. Not only the win, but the top 10s the previous 3 years. And she
And Lexi's not one to miss many cuts in general.
hasn't
And
missed
then,
one this year.
You know, you come to a course where you feel so comfortable on it. It's unusual to see her not playing better. I would think at least she'd be 4 or 5 under par, and that would be her off performance.
11.
Christy Kerr for birdie. Yeah, really good.
Match play, you don't even make her put that down, do you?
I don't know. Maybe you'd see it. Just.
You would.
Yeah, I would.
She doesn't miss them.
No, she never misses them.
If it were to win the hole, you
Yeah,
got to
you'd
make
see
him,
it. You gotta see
make
him
him
make
putt
it.
it.
Now, if Tom were putting, I'd make him putt this one.
Tanagan for birdie. Yes. I'll remember that because we're going to finish our match this afternoon.
The match.
The match.
Twitter is a buzz.
Yeah.
For reaction.
Are spectators allowed?
Yes, but it is. I would wear your golf shoes because it might be a little wet out there.
There is a fee.
Yeah. Lauren Coughlin second to the 9th. Going to come in with a lot of club.
And we saw even NG Chun come in with a hybrid, so with the wetness and the little bit more receptive greens comes longer shots in.
It's a pretty good shot though from Lauren Coughlin, who's made a couple of cuts after struggling at the beginning of the season inside the cut line here in adopted home state of Virginia.
At the 12th, Austin Ernst 1 shot off the lead.
This green is narrow and long. She dialed that one in beautifully.
That ball close. Belongs to Jane Park. Coming up on the next episode of Driven, the two rivals face off and the competition heats up. Can the underdog Sooners take over as the top seeded programs move into the NCAA regionals? You'll have to watch it Monday night, 8 o'clock Eastern time. Ricky Fowler, the executive producer. 9.
J-Marie Green for birdie. Oh, that's a pretty good pace there, and good lag putt as we were talking about earlier. And J-Marie will go out and level par. Talked about Austin Ernst being the daughter of a golf professional, so is J-Marie Green. Her father Donnie used to caddy for her, famed for his hair, which was rather striking.
Doesn't he teach down in the Boca Raton area?
That's where J-Marie lives.
Inji Chun, long birdie putt at the 8th, put her to 9 under par. Nice 2-putt lag at the 9th for par. She makes the turn. Let's see who's up to the challenge. Presented by Prudential. And it is the 2-time major champion Inji Chun. This to start her day with a birdie. Took her to 7 under par. She was one of 5 who led after round 1 after 6 under par 65s on Thursday. Nearly hold her approach at the 6th. Tapped it in to get to 8 under. And then here's that long one we talked about at the 8th.
These feel like bonuses, don't they?
Talk about lag putting. Just go ahead and make it. And she is up to the challenge presented by Prudential. And here she is at the 10th.
Yeah, ball well below her feet, which would cause it to go off to the right.
There you go.
Yeah. Try to reiterate what she'd rather have done. Stayed with it a little bit longer.
Back 1 to the 9th.
Lauren Coughlin to get to 3 under par with a good birdie.
And one of the rare shots that we've seen back in the general area of this whole location.
Busy year so far. She got married before the season started, so let's learn more about Lauren in this week's Fresh Faces of the LPGA Tour, presented by Leaders Cosmetics.
I'm Lauren Coughlin, and I'm a rookie on the LPGA. People say my last name incorrectly all the time. Pretty much everybody pronounces it Coughlin, but it's Coughlin. The H is silent. I'm a proud Wahoo, University of Virginia Cavalier. Go Hoos. The folklore is a Wahoo is a fish that can drink twice its body weight in water. Wahoo wah, Wahoo wah, University of Virginia. And so the legend goes that UVA students back in the day could really hold their alcohol, and so they started calling us the Wahoos. Hoo-ah-ray, and so the name kind of stuck. Ray, UVA. I grew up in Chesapeake, which is about an hour or so from here. Now my husband and I live in Charlottesville. I met my husband while we were at UVA. He played football. We lived in the same dorm our first year, so that's kind of how we met and became friends. For my 5th year, my team won back-to-back ACC championships, and I won individually, and then during the awards ceremony, my then boyfriend, soon-to-be fiance, proposed. My coach knew all about it, my teammates knew all about it. Getting my card was never really something that I thought about. I was a late bloomer. I didn't even think that I would try to go pro until my last year of college, until I had the year that I had, and then I did, and I was like, wow, like I actually think I have a shot at it. A year and a half later, I got my card, and now I'm here.
Fresh Faces of the LPGA Tour, presented by Leaders Cosmetics. Lauren Coughlin missed the first 6 cuts of the season, but she's made her last 2 cuts, and now inside the cut line here, looking to move up in the Louise Suggs Rolex Rookie of the Year standings. led by Jin Young Ko. We saw Emma Talley yesterday in our coverage. Hannah Green, another player who may well challenge Jin Young Ko for that title come the season's end. 12.
And Austin Ernst to join in Ji Chun at 9 under.
Boy, her putting stroke does look good. Very simple, straight back and straight through.
Great day on the range, on the course. Austin Ernst in Ji Chun tied for the lead. Day 2 at Kingsmill.
Jerry.
Another beautiful par 3 here at Kingsmill. Austin Ernst on the tee at the 13th.
You can see where she's aiming, trying to look at the left of the flagstick as everything drops off dramatically to the right.
Heard that a lot last week at the Players, the fact that Pete Dye sort of draws you into the trouble. There's a lot of room left. There's no problem at all over there, but if you go right on that hole, you can have some problems. Back to the 12th.
And Area Jatanagarn, you see one shot off the lead.
Bit of a downhill lie, 127 to the hole. Breeze helping from the left. This is a gap wedge. She went off the downhill lie, she caught it steeply.
She'll be very aggressive with that one. Hole's located, Jerry, in a pretty similar spot today as to where it was yesterday.
Back to the 10th and a long birdie putt for Ji Chun, tied with Austin Ernst at 9 under.
Took a big backswing with that stroke, but maintained good acceleration.
So 8, she made a long one. 9, lagged it up to tap in range. Here she's maybe not quite tap in, but very close.
No, and a big part of the success on this golf course is 3-putt avoidance, because you hit a lot of greens, but you may be 45 feet away. Can you get down in 2?
1 last year,
just
right?
1 3-putt.
Yeah. En route to her 20 under par winning total. 3.
Par 5. Nasa Hataoka has most on the green in 2, but just going to chip back down to the flag.
Yeah, obviously plenty of green to work with. I'd like to see her hit this low, get it running like a chip. I mean, chip running like a putt.
Well, It's giving herself a good chance for that 4th birdie of the day. No drop shots for the 19-year-old. And now Angel Yin at the 11th.
Yeah, this little bit scruffier area that she's coming out of, so I'll just try to get this rolling solidly at the start and hope.
Yeah, well done.
Well, the green, like I said, the greens are so pure. If you can get the first part of the putt rolling pretty solidly, proves you can make it from anywhere.
Now, these players have played the morning wave really hoping that they'll get finished. There'll be no weather affecting their rounds.
Brooke Henderson at the 10th missed a short one for par at 9, trying to get it back, and does. 4th on tour in birdies made. She's played every event. This is the 12th of 33 official money events on the LPGA Tour, and the first of 9 straight as we go to the 13th.
Austin Ernst has a chance for birdie to get to 10 under par. And when we arrived here in Virginia earlier in the week, the forecast was dreadful. But they played yesterday in the rain in the afternoon. They didn't stop. Today, again, they did have a slight delay this morning, an hour. The tee times were pushed back an hour, but for the moment it's so far so good. It's in the clear for the next few hours at least.
And it seems like, Tom, the wind is picking up a little bit, which they need. That'll help dry out the course.
It's always a little bit disconcerting for players, isn't it, that they don't know whether there will be a delay, whether they'll be able to finish their rounds. But it looks like this morning wave will get finished up, and we'll just have to keep our fingers crossed for the afternoon wave to see if we can get 36 done by the end of the day. They are an hour behind, so it is going to be pushing it.
At least it was just an hour delay, and nobody got started, so it wasn't a big hindrance for the players. Just gave them time to have a little bit more breakfast, a little more time stretching and warming up.
Just a headache for the officials because they'll be here until dark tonight.
As will the hundreds of volunteers.
Yeah.
She seems like she's exuding a sense of calm right now, which will bode well for the weekend.
All right, for a 3rd straight birdie, Ariya Jutanugarn.
Doesn't look like a whole lot of break in it.
She will stay 1 shot back. Winner here 2 years ago. It was the 2nd of 3 straight victories. Her first 3.
Hataoka for a birdie. And she moves to 9 under par. It's been a fabulous performance over the first couple of days for the Japanese player. A 3-way tie at the top. Ariya Jutanugarn is right there. Jessica Korda among the afternoon starters.
Today's coverage is brought to you by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Volvic Vivid, the world's best-selling matte finish golf balls. Volunteers of America, helping America's most vulnerable. And by Prudential, official financial services provider of the LPGA.
on the 11th tee with one of the co-leaders, In-Ji Chun.
Some trees come in on the right, big fairway bunker on the left, but In-Ji is known for hitting a high percentage of fairways.
Still quite a bit of run on these fairways, considering how wet it is. And there is Jutanagan has reached the 13th.
Picturesque. One of many here.
It's up there, so right in it.
Gorgeous hole. Breeze out of the left. Certainly a hole that players are on this tee thinking birdie. Looks like an 8-iron. "30, 40 feet left of the hole."
Left is the safe side. And she's going to have a look at birdie to get to 9 under. And while we have a moment, let's go up to Grant and Kay.
Tom, as our coverage begins to wind down, I'm looking at this leaderboard. 5 of the top 10 have never won. Artha Munoz has won, but she's not won a stroke play event. Scoring is ideal, isn't it?
It is. And for Artha, for Annie Park, for Jessica Korda, who will be going out this afternoon, it looks like conditions may be decent. Wind picking up a little bit, starting to dry out the golf course. They might have a little more issue being as aggressive and confident with their club selection if that breeze does continue to pick up. But no one has really run away with it. So if they were just to shoot at least 2 or 3 under par and stay within the mix, I think that would be a good goal.
And we've said this many times. It bears repeating. An amazing effort by the green staff here to get this course in good condition, playable condition. More rain in the forecast. 3-way tie for the lead. So much to play for every week on the LPGA Tour, even for winners. Major champs like In-Ji Chun haven't won it a couple of years. Aria looking for her first victory of the year. Could Kari Webb possibly win again? Hall of Fame member. We've got third round coverage later in the afternoon tomorrow and Sunday. 5 o'clock Eastern time. We'll bring you third round coverage. Great job by the crew, braving the elements in the early morning hours here. Thanks to everyone who made it possible, led by producer Beth Hutter, director Ryan Hennessy. Thanks as well to Jerry Foltz, Tom Abbott, Kate Cockrell. I'm Grant Boone. We'll see you tomorrow from Kingsmill.